Off the highway from the city, there was a forest. And in this forest, there were animals. There were fat animals, there were thin animals, there were tall animals, and there were short animals, and there were big animals, and there were small animals. But amongst these animals, 4 of them were friends. Pingu the peacock, Tupsi the turtle, Cameo the camel, and Mogu the monkey. They played with each other, but there were fights also sometimes because they compared themselves with each other. Mogu the monkey felt the peacock is such a beautiful bird. Everybody keeps looking at the peacock. And those feathers, wow! And I can't dance like the peacock. So I'm a little jealous. Tupsi felt this monkey, hands and legs long, and he keeps hopping across from one tree to another. How does he do it? I can only swim in the river, and that too my walking pace is slow. I feel inferior to him, so I have to manage with whatever I have. I don't feel good about it. Camille the camel looked at Tupsi the turtle and felt, oh my God, how can you swim? I can't swim. I can just about run, and I run quite fast, but I can't swim. I feel bad. Now, in this manner, when they compared themselves to each other, they didn't bring themselves together. In fact, they didn't cooperate with each other because they were against each other. And off the forest, from the highway on the other side, there was a farmhouse. And in this farmhouse lived the caretaker whose name was Bazooka. Bazooka would come on the other side of the highway where the forest was to meet his friends and interact with them. One day there was a sporting event on the highway, a big sporting event, and Miss Khushi, who was the sports organizer, announced, "We are about to begin this competition." "But what is it about?" inquired Tupsi, the turtle, anxiously. "Oh, this event is a rat race." Mogu the monkey said, "A rat race? What do we have to do?" Miss Khushi said, "All of you assemble there at the starting point and I'll tell you what you're going to do." And so the camel ran towards the starting point. Tupsi slowly moved towards the starting point, and of course Mogu the monkey hopped and skipped and jumped and reached the starting point. And our dear friend Pingu the peacock danced his way through to the starting point. "What do we do?" asked Camille the camel. She blew her whistle and she said, "Now all of you are going to be evaluated on how well you can climb a tree. And this is the tree, the big banyan tree." "Climb a tree?" Tupsi was horrified and he felt his confidence drain down. Mogu the monkey, however, was happy because climbing a tree was no big deal for him. And of course, Camille the camel grew anxious because he just could only stare at the tree and could never imagine that he could climb a tree. But what he could do was run. But they were not interested in his running. So he felt bad about himself and he withdrew. Now, our dear Pingu the peacock was wondering on this climb up the tree business. I'm just a low flying bird. I cannot fly this high, or I cannot reach this tree bark, and the tree is so tall. Miss Khushi suddenly distracted them with their thoughts and announced, "The race is about to begin." And she blew the gunshot. Thak! Mogu the monkey, of course, ran up in minutes and he was up above the tree, peering down at his friends who were struggling to get through. But of course, nobody participated and nobody even went a mile ahead because they withdrew and they knew they couldn't do this. And the competition was over. Mogu the monkey was declared the winner. All the three animals were depressed. Bazooka suddenly reached that place and he saw them all depressed. Actually, he had come to encourage them. He waved his scarf and he said, "Come here, my friends. What happened?" All the three animals slowly and steadily moved towards Bazooka. "Oh, we want to tell you so many things," Bazooka said one at a time. Camille the camel said, I can't climb a tree and I'm so upset." Immediately Pingu the peacock added, I can't fly. I can't fly that high. How can I climb a tree? But I can dance." And Tupsi said, "I can swim, but nobody is interested in my swimming. What do? I feel so low about myself." Bazooka said, "Let us think. There must be a better way, and there must be another way, because I feel assessments are about, or any race is about, to find out what you know and not to find out what you don't know. So let's take it a little differently." "How?" inquired Tupsi, who was as anxious as anybody. Bazooka shared his thoughts with them. He said, "Now that Camille the camel can run, Tupsi the turtle can swim well, and Pingu the peacock can dance, and particularly in the rain, we are going to practice what we can do so that we become better at this skill and do better and better than ourselves, not with anybody else. Is that fine?" The camel was excited. "Oh, running is exciting for me and I love it." Tupsi said, "I can't wait to go into the water and start my swimming strokes." And Pingu, "Oh, dancing for next 3 days? I'm so excited and I'm just waiting to do it." And all the three animals, they vanished for the next 3 days. After 3 days were over, that's day 1, day 2 and day 3, and with a lot of practice in the skill that they had, they came back. They came back to Bazooka and said, "Here we are." So now Bazooka said, "Tell me, how were the 3 days and what did you do?" Camel said, "I practiced running across long distances and running so that I can run faster than myself what I was running yesterday." "Brilliant," said Bazooka. And Tupsi, "Oh, I can't tell you. I was wading through the water currents, waiting to break through them and move to the river from one side of the streams to the other, from one side of the river to the other, and my speed has improved and I love it." Pingu said, "Dancing all the way, and I've created 3 beautiful dance sequences. I am so excited to share this with people." Bazooka congratulated them. He said the point of assessments is to find out, or any race is to find out how much you know and not how much you don't know. And of course, it doesn't matter if you can't climb a tree. So they all now went across the highway to the caretaker's house in the farmland. And when they opened the door, wow, Bazooka had prepared a hearty meal for all of them, a very delicious meal. And so they sat there and ate to their heart's content. Now let's find out, now that the camel couldn't climb a tree and was feeling depressed, and that Tupsi also couldn't climb a tree and was feeling anxious, and Pingu had lost his confidence because he couldn't climb a tree. Let's see what these 3 animals are doing 10 years later. 10 years later, so the story goes, Camille the camel, was in the desert. He was running across the deserts. And what was he doing there? Oh, he had started his own transport agency, medico transport agency in the desert, where he took medicines from pharma industries from chemist shops and druggist shops and took these medicines and reached it to people who lived far and beyond, people to whom where the motorists could not reach, people to whom where the motorcycles could not reach, and the land and the terrain was difficult. But the camel could run, so it was not a problem. So he reached these medicines from one end of the desert to the other, and from one end of the land to the other end of the land, and he made a living. He employed more camels and taught them also how to run fast. And he prospered, and it didn't matter if he couldn't climb a tree. Let's take a look at what Tupsi, our friend turtle, was doing. Tupsi, you would find him in a stream across the river, taking animals on his shell. He would put the small squirrel who would jump on his shell, and he would transport her to the other end of the stream. And from there was an ant that would climb onto his shell, and he would sit on the shell, and there he would go back to the other side of the river. By this, he had started a marine service, a marine transport service, and he was so happy because it involved only swimming, and he was so good at it. And of course, it didn't matter if he couldn't climb the tree. And let's see what Pingu is doing. Pingu the peacock was now invited for dance performances in major events and stages. He also had started the Fusion Academy, where he blended the Western dance and the Eastern dance and created beautiful dance steps. Do you know how many people enrolled in his dance class? There were many, and the age group was 50, 60 years, 70 years and onwards. For, according to Pingu, dance has no age, and if your feet are happy, you are happy. Pingu was delighted with what he was doing. And of course, it doesn't matter if he can't climb a tree. What about Bazooka? Let's take a look at what Bazooka was doing. Many years later, Bazooka started a dhaba across the highway where tourists or truck drivers would travel up and down carrying cargo. Sometimes the motorists would carry passengers, and they would stop there, all tired, to have a delicious meal. And he called it the Tufan Dhaba. And of course, it didn't matter if he couldn't climb a tree. He was happy. What matters is what you can do. What matters is what skill you have and how well we develop that skill. What matters is that we raise the bar with ourselves, and the comparison, of course, is with ourselves, by ourselves, and for ourselves. Work towards improving your confidence. Work towards improving your self-worth. And that's what life is all about.